Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the all apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akim, pronounce truth and sincerity. Shalom. So in this video, I want to go into how we came, to possess the land of Israel, back in the days, and how it is also part of the covenant that the Most High made, with our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that we, should inherit the land of Israel, which in former time was also known as the land of Canaan, which these Canaanites used to live. But there's a, certain history, concerning that as well, and I want to go into that, how we came to inherit the land. This is Psalms chapter 105 and verse 8. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the words which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying unto thee, will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. So, with these scriptures we come to understanding that the Most High made a covenant with the forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and this was passed on according to that seed line. And one of the things that it also mentions is that the Most High would give, unto those, unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which eventually Jacob, his name was changed unto Israel. He begat 12 sons, so he is the patriarch of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, of which, in this day and age are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but also those that were scattered among the heathen nations, looking like the heathen nations. But his lineage does go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, according to their father's seed line. Those are the people that would eventually, inherit the land of Canaan, And back in the days, we were able to inhabit it as well, but we never was able to, establish a everlasting kingdom, in the Middle East, which in this, day and age is, is known as the land of Palestine and the land of Israel. You see, but unto the Israelites, unto those people belongs that land. So I first want to go to Leviticus chapter 20, because there it talks about, why the people that used to live there, were basically spewed out of the land. It's Leviticus chapter 20, verse 22, and it says, "You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them, that the lands whither I bring you to dwell therein spew you not out." So, the first thing that we need to understand is that in order to remain in the land, the land of Israel, which in former times was also known as the land of Canaan, in order for you to dwell there, you need to uphold righteousness. And if you don't uphold righteousness, the land itself will spew you out. Meaning that the Most High is going to bring certain things, against those people that live there in order to drive them out of the land. Verse 23, "And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation which are cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhor them." So, if we read the book of Leviticus, for instance, chapter 18, and we come to the understanding that the people that used to live in the land of Canaan, they used to commit certain abominable acts, adultery, but also, sleeping with near of kin. And if I'm correct, it even talks about, let me see. It even talks about bestiality. These were the things that these nations, that used to be in the land of Canaan used to do, back in those days. So this is Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 1. "And the Lord Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord Yahawah your power. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances. So the Most High commanded us, don't, keep the ways, of the people that, you used to live among, man, in the land of Egypt, man, when we was in slavery back then. The Most High also commands us, not to do according to the ways of the Canaanites, whose land we're about to enter into. Concerning back in those days. Verse 4, ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord Yahawah your power. So the Most High says, keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. Keep my land, statutes, commandments, Verse 5, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord Yahawah. And then you get all the scriptures to talk about the things that they used to do and that we are not supposed to be doing. So then we jump to verse 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled which are cast out before you. So the Most High says, don't make yourself, commit these wicked things because of these things that I just mentioned. That's the reason that the nations that I cast out before you, are taken out of the land. Verse 25, and the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out their inhabitants. So the iniquity that's being committed, is also being judged. You see, so the nations, basically that were before us, those Canaanites, they got judged for their doings, man. Because, like I mentioned already, in order for you to remain in the land, you have to uphold righteousness. Verse 26, ye should therefore keep my statutes and my judgment, and should not commit of any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourned among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also, when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them, shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord Yahawah your power. And another example, when heathens came into our land, is the book of 2 Kings chapter 17, starting around verse 20, all the way up to about verse 30, where the king of Assyria put other nations in our land when he took us out, and then they found out that by keeping their own laws, statutes, and commandments, the Most High sent forth lions among them to slay them. And then a priest, a Levite priest, was taken from among the captives, and he was to teach those people that was placed in our land the manners of Yahawashi, Yahawashi, so that they will be able to, stay in the land. So let's go back to Leviticus chapter 20. So this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 23 again. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nations which are cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhor them. So let me quickly grab the nations that were before us in the land. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. And when the Lord Yahawah, thy power, shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord Yahawah thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. So these were these Hamitic nations that was inhabiting the land of Canaan, that the Most High took out of the land. So this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 24. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am the Lord Yahawah your power, which has separated you from other people. And if I'm correct, this is part of the let me see. Let me quickly look it up. Because now I want to bring out the point that, yes, of course, because of the acts of these heathens, they were cast out before us, but it was also part of the inheritance that was promised unto our forefather Abraham. So stay with me. Babukusha. I think I found it. Yeah, this is Genesis chapter 15. And verse 18, in the same day the Lord Yahawah made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river the Euphrates, the Kenites and the Kenizzites and the Kadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites. So in Genesis chapter 15, the Most High, he made a promise unto Abram concerning our inheritance, man, concerning the inheritance of the land that we will receive, which the promise that we're going to eventually receive concerning the land is actually bigger than what we perceive as the land of Israel right now. You see, but it still goes into the Fertile Crescent. The most fruitful place upon the earth, which that's why it also mentioned in Leviticus chapter 20, a land that floweth with milk and honey, man. So this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 24. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey, which that means that it's going to be a very fertile land. I am the Lord Yahawah, your power, which has separated you from other people. And how the Most High separated us from these other people is by giving us those laws, statutes, commandments, man. That if we are able to, if we would have been able to keep the laws, statutes, commandments back then, we never would have been kicked out. But that was never the plan of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. You see. But it does give you the scriptures that I just pulled. They give you the reasons. Why it was kicked out, man. We had those other nations as an example. The Most High said, "Hey, keep my laws, statutes, commandments, because of the doings of these other nations which committed iniquity. I drove them out before you, man. Verse 25. Ye should therefore put difference between clean beasts and unclean, and between clean fowls and unclean fowls and clean. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by beast, or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. You see, which that goes into the dietary laws, man. You know, the Most High gave us dietary laws, man, that we are able to discern between, you know, what is clean and unclean, man. To make that separation, to keep ourselves holy. Verse 26, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord Yahawah, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. And man, also a woman, yeah, that was basically it. So this is additional information concerning, you know, why these nations were driven out, and why we, you know, also inherited the land. This is Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 1. Hear, O Israel, thou art to pass over Jordan this day, to go into possess possess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to heaven, a people great and tall, the children of Anakim, whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Which these were very tall people. The word Anak goes back to the neck. So these are, in this day and age, the people with the long neck and all the rings around their neck. Verse 3, understand therefore this day that the Lord Yahawah thy power is he which goeth over before thee, as a consuming fire he shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before thy face, so shalt thou drive them out, and destroy them quickly, as the Lord Yahawah hath said unto thee. So it was because of, you know, the spirit and power of Bahasham that we was able to conquer these nations. Verse 4, speak not thou in thine heart after that the Lord Yahawah thy power hath cast them out from before thee, saying, for my righteousness the Lord Yahawah hath brought me in to possess this land, but for the wickedness of the nations the Lord Yahawah doth drive them out before thee. You see, so the Most High warns us already, like, you know, don't say within yourself that because of our righteousness, you know, that we are going to possess the land, man. You know, that's not the case. Because if you read on, you know, the Most High clearly says, you was a stiff-necked people, man. Rebellious, rebellion against the Most High, you know. But it says that for the wickedness of these nations, the abominable things that they had committed, the Most High, you know, drove them out before us, man. Which that, if you think about it, that's a beautiful thing, man. The Most High, he gave that promise unto Abraham, eventually Isaac and Jacob, you know. And in order to make that come to pass, you know, all these other things had to unfold as well, man. You know, all these other nations that was in the land, you know, committed these whoredoms, these wicked things, you know, these abominable things, these iniquities. Therefore, the Most High drove them out before us, man. It's a beautiful thing, man, how the Most High works. He's a master chess player. Verse 5, not for thy righteousness, or for the uprightness of thine heart, dost thou go to possess their land, but for the wickedness of these nations, the Lord Yahawah thy power doth drive them out from before thee, that he may perform the word which the Lord Yahawah sware unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You see? You see? So that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. And then, of course, you know, we also went off. Right now, you know, the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, you know, can be seen upon us, you know, and we are just soon, you know, we're out of this hellhole, so we're able to possess the land that was promised unto our forefathers, man, you know, forever. Verse 6, understand therefore that the Lord Yahawah thy power giveth thee not this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. Remember, forget not how thou provokest the Lord Yahawah thy power to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt, until ye came unto this place. Ye have been rebellious against the Lord Yahawah. You see? So this is the book of Baruch. that I want to bring out. Baruch 2, around verse 30. This is Baruch 2 and 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because this is stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. You see, we went off, the curses came upon us, but, starting off with, the land of America, that's where people woke up first to their, to the truth, and then, in all the other nations where we were scattered, man. Verse 31, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahawah their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord Yahawah. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. You see? So, Rawchaa, this video is edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim, Spanish truth and sincerity. Shalom.